Alright, so I think I figured out how to read. So this is chapter 4. This subject title is called Vampire Hamsters and the Little Girl. That's right, Vampire Hamsters and the Little Girl. Not for kids, I'm sorry. As I adjusted the wheel on the binoculars to gain a clearer and closer view of the victim's neck, I saw that the balls of fur were actually tiny animals. Vlad nudged the body with his foot and watched as one of the animals scurried around and hissed, baring its fangs at Vlad. It was actually quite cute, the small baby fangs on this hamster-sized creature and its hamster eyes. It was like something out of a kid's movie created to hide the veracity of a vampire by showing it all cute and cuddly. But in a kid's movie, the balls wouldn't have been feasting on a man's neck, but simply chasing its victims. Of course, it would catch up with the victim eventually, but all it would do in a kid movie is touch the man and he'd fall over asleep. Anyway, the point here is that the creatures were cute, but my new friend / kidnappers / heroes / vampire hunter teammates knew different and shot the little bugger right between the eyes. Well, the blast actually covered the entire hamster, so no entry or exit wound for the little brown fella. Kyra, Raven, Pfeffles! Where are you? A young blonde-haired girl came shouting around the corner. I ducked inside the van and watched as the girl spotted Vlad and Jackson, ran up to them and started to giggle. I rolled down the window just in time to hear her talk. Kyra, Raven, get off that man. I'm sorry, sirs. They're usually good girls, but today they broke out of their cage, the girl continued. I'm not sure how, but they did it. They're so smart. She decided to reach for the hamsters, and the black one, I'm assuming that was Raven, twisted around and bit the girl's hand. Hey! The little girl shouted and licked her bite wound. I'll be back with your cage once I find Fluffles. Can you three keep watching them? The little girl turned back, ran holding her hand and screaming for her mother to get a cage. Vlad quickly fired 2 shots at the 2 other hamsters, and they adorably exploded. I even saw the little girl turn around and head back to... I then saw the little girl turn around and head back toward Vlad and Jax. I was thinking that this girl must have heard the shots and Jax and Vlad are going to have hell to pay. But I was wrong. Instead, she took 2 steps past the van and leaped several feet forward and rammed into Jax and Vlad, sending the 3 of them into the cardboard boxes and trash that lined the alley. The girl was brutal. Through the binoculars, I could see her eyes were covered in a drooping blood that oozed down the eyeball, and her fangs had grown through her lips, and blood just continued to pour from her wounded lip, while the blood water fall on her eyes just stayed in her eyes. It was like the water of her eyes became blood. She was no longer a cute, innocent girl looking for her hamster, that's for sure. Jax lifted her off of them and flung her into the large garbage bin. Vlad and Jax walked up to the bin with their guns aimed. She shot out of there like a scared bunny, first bouncing at the back of the bin, then leaping sideways down the alley toward me. Finally, it was my chance to show the guys that I could be a welcome addition to their team. Well, hell, fuck. Hell, I couldn't go back to my old life. I never really existed till this day, and ironically, this new existence of mine can't be known. I readied my big silver gun that I was given earlier that night to shoot Kevin with, and stuck it out to the window. Close enough. I hesitated a brief moment. Then I fired at the little girl's heart, cutting it right out of her, causing her to collapse just in front of the van. Vlad and Jax both complimented me on a good shot, but I felt terrible. I had just killed a little kid. Vlad explained that she wasn't human. She died seconds after the hamster infected her. Jax explained that even though she looked like a girl, aside from the fangs and red waterfall eyes, there was no hope for her. He farther explained to me that once fully injected, all hope is lost. infected. All hope is lost. The only way she could have been saved is if they knew she was infected and they administered a toxin to fight the infection. But they had no idea. They had no way of knowing that these hamsters were infected by a jumper, a vampiric being that infects its host, quickly turns it, and then fearing for his life, jumps to a new host. After a short guilt-consoling session, we loaded up the dead body of the long-haired man, the little girl with the hole in her chest, and the roadkill-esque remains of the hamsters. As I shut the back door and stared at the little vampire girl, I couldn't help but feel guilt. I wished I could help her, or that she didn't even come looking for her hamster, but as Jack said, all hope was lost. I removed my goodbyes uniform vest and draped it over her eyes and heart hole. As I patted it gently to make sure it would stay, I felt her move and I quickly leaped back to my corner. The girl rolled over and from beneath her, the long-haired man began to straggle to his feet and stare directly at me. Even though his hair was covering most of his face, I could still see a small waterfall of red water where his eyes were. Some of the waterfall blood soaked into his hair, causing his blood to drip from the tips of his hair to the floor of the van, and slowly walked toward the front of the van. "Jax!" I shouted. Well, that was even quicker. This was like 7 minutes. So if you've enjoyed this and you sat through the last hour and a half, I'm doing better, right? So next chapter's coming up.